Okay, let us continue our discussion. So we're going to discuss sample spaces and probability, the addition rules for probability, the multiplication rules, and conditional probability. We also have determining sample spaces and finding the probability of an event using classical probability, finding the probability of an event using empirical probability, and finding the probability of compound events using the addition rules. Also, we're going to find the probability of a compound events using the multiplication rules, find the conditional probability of an event. Okay, so now let's proceed to sample spaces and probability. A probability experiment is a process that leads to well-defined results called outcomes. An outcome is the result of a single trial of a probability experiment. So take note, a tree diagram can be used as a systematic way to find all possible outcomes of a probability experiment. For example, we're going to toss two coins. So the result of tossing a coin is either head or tail. Okay, so for the results, we could have head, tail, tail, head, or tail and tail. So tossing two coins, we could have four results. Okay, so that's through using a diagram or tree diagram. Yan. So here are some experiment tossing a coin. So sample space is head or tail. Those are the possible outcomes. Rolling a die. So since a die has six numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So answering a true or false question, the sample space is only 2, either true or false. And then tossing two coins, just like what I've shown before. So HH, HT, TH, and tail. Okay. So formula for classical probability. Classical probability assumes that all outcomes in the sample space are equally likely to occur. That is, equally likely events are events that have the same probability of occurring. So it means that they are, that's why they are called equally likely events. So the probability of any event E is, the formula is number of outcomes in E over total number of outcomes in the sample space. So this probability is denoted by P of E equals N of E over N of S. So this probability is called classical probability and it uses the sample space S. So for example, for a card drawn from an ordinary deck, find the probability of getting a queen, a six of clubs, and a three or a diamond. So imagine, a standard deck of card. Familiar naman kayo doon, di ba? So meron tayong heart, spade, flower or clubs ang tawag. Okay, ano pa yung isa? Diamond. So yung iba tinatawag na flower. Pero actually, yung tawag doon ay clubs. So solution, since there are 4 queens and 52 cards, so probability of getting a queen is 4 over 52 or 1 over 13. So it will be better if you're going to express it into lowest term. For letter B, since there's only one six of clubs, then the probability of getting six of clubs is 1 over 52. So for letter C, there are 4 trees and 13 diamonds. But the tree of diamonds is counted twice in the listing. Hence, there are only 16 possibilities of drawing or tree of a diamond. That's why 3 or a diamond. So 16 over 52 or 4 over 13. Okay? So why 3 fours? Actually, 'di ba there are 4 fours. Apat yung 4. Ay, there are 4 threes. Kaso, yung isang 3 kasi class is 3 of diamonds na. Doon sa 13 from ace to king, 'di ba? 13 'yon. Kaya hindi na siya isinama, tatlo na lang. So 13 na diamond and then yung tat, uh, other threes, 3 na heart, 3 na club, 3 na spade, di ba? So 3 plus 13 is 16. Kaya siya 16 over 52 kasi 52 yung standard deck of cards over 13. Over 4 over 13 pag nilowest term. Okay? So class, sa standard deck of card, wag yung isasama yung dalawang joker. When a single die is rolled, find the probability of getting a 9. So since sample space is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, it is impossible to get a 9. Hence, the probability of getting a 9 is 0 over 6 or equal to 0. Di ba? Kasi 1 to 6 lang naman yung nasa die. So the sum of the probabilities of all outcomes in the sample space is 1. Why? Di ba? Ang probability of getting a 1 is 1 over 6 in rolling a die, di ba? Of getting a 3, 1 over 6 din. Getting a 5, 1 over 6. So, ilang 1 over 6 yon? 6. When you add that 6, 1 over 6, ang sum niya is 6 over 6 or equal to 1. Okay? Yan. So, the complement of an event is the set of outcomes in the sample space that are not included in the outcomes of event E. The complement of E is denoted by E bar. Okay? So, as you can see, this looks familiar from our discussion of sets, 'di ba? Sa Venn diagram. So, yung complement of E, so those elements which are not E. So, find the complement of each event, 'di ba? So, rolling a die and getting a 4. So, solution, ano yung hindi uh, ano yung hindi getting a 4? So, getting a 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 or 6, 'di ba? Ayan, yun yung complement niya. Ibig sabihin, yung hindi getting a 4. Ang not getting a 4 is getting those numbers. Selecting a letter of the alphabet and getting a vowel. So, ang complement niya is getting a consonant, di ba? Selecting a day of the week and getting a weekday. So, ang complement niya is getting a Saturday or Sunday or getting a weekend. Selecting a one-child family and getting a boy. So, ang complement niya is getting a girl. Diba? Yan. So, rule for complementary event, the probability of getting the complement is equal to 1 minus the probability of getting the event. Or the other way around, the probability of getting that event is equal to 1 minus the probability of getting its complement. Or the probability of getting an event and the probability of its complement is equal to 1, diba? When added. Ganun yun. Ano yung example nun? Di ba ang probability ng getting a 4 sa rolling a die is 1 over 6. Ang kanyang complement is getting 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. That's 5 over 6. Pag pinag-plus nyo yun, 1 over 6 plus 5 over 6 is equal to 6 over 6 or 1. Okay? So, ganun yun. Pag pinag-plus mo yung event at saka yung complement niya, the result is 1. Empirical probability. The difference between classical and empirical probability is that classical probability assumes that certain outcomes are equally likely, while empirical probability relies on actual experience to determine the probability of an outcome. So, ibig sabihin, ito ay database based sa recorded information. Di ba? So, given the frequency distribution, the probability of an event being in a given class is, ayan, P of E is equal to frequency for the class over total frequencies in the distribution. To summarize it, equals F over N. This probability is called empirical probability and is based on observation. Pag may observation, may recorded data. For example, in a sample of 50 people, 21 had type O blood. 22 had type A blood, 5 had type B blood, and 2 had AB blood. Set up a frequency distribution. So, ito yon, di ba? Kuha tayo ng table. So, ang type A is 22, type B, type AB, type O is 5, 2, and 21 respectively. The total of the frequency is 50. So, Find the following probabilities for the previous example. A person has type O blood. So, since 21 yung type O, edi 21 over 50. 50 yung total eh. A person has type A or type B blood. So, ang type A kasi class is 22. Ang type B is 5, di ba? So, what we're going to do is we're going to add it. Kapag OR, okay? Remember this, pag OR addition. So, A or B, so 22 over 50 plus 5 over 50, and that's 27 over 50. Okay? So, kapag hindi na pwedeng i-lowest term, huwag nyo nang leave it as it is. That will be your answer. So the addition tools for probability, two events are mutually exclusive if they cannot occur at the same time. So it means that they have no outcomes in common. So A and B are mutually exclusive. Example niyan sa isang standard deck of cards class. Halimbawa, getting a diamond and getting a spade. So magkaiba sila, di ba? Pareho silang 13 over 52. So they are mutually exclusive. Kapag hindi mutually exclusive, may common. Kagaya nung kanina, di ba? Getting a tree and getting a diamond. May common sila, which is the tree of diamond. Kaya hindi sila mutually exclusive. If you're going to imagine na magiging Venn diagram nila, so meron silang intersection. So when two events, A and B, are mutually exclusive, the probability that A or B will occur is probability of A or B is equal to probability of A plus the probability of B. So like what I've said, kapag or addition. Yun. At a political rally, there are 20 Republicans, 13 Democrats, and 6 independents. If a person is elected, find the probability that he or she is either a Democrat or an independent. So ang gawin nyo, i-total nyo lahat siya. 20 plus 13 plus 6, ilan yon? So that's, if I'm not mistaken, ay 39. Tama ba? Ayun. So dahil or, addition, the Democrat independent. So ano yung Democrat? Ilan yon? 13 over 39 plus independent, 6 over 39. 13 plus 6 is 19. So the probability is 19 over 39. A day of the week is selected at random. Find the probability that it is a weekend. So yon. Ang weekend naman is Saturday or Sunday lang. So 1 over 7 plus 1 over 7 is equal to 2 over 7. So when two events A and B are not mutually exclusive, the probability that A or B will occur is, yan, the probability of A or B is equal to P of A plus P of B minus P of A and B. Ibig sabihin yung kanilang intersection. Kagaya nung kanina, di ba? Sa standard deck of card. So, ilan ang 3? 4 over 30. Ang probability of getting a 3 is 4 over 52. Tapos is yung kanina, this yung isa plus probability of getting a diamond, that's 13 over 52. Eh meron silang intersection which is isa lang naman, 'di ba? Which is 3 of diamond. Kaya i-minus mo yung 1 na 'yon. Okay? Kaya ang sagot kanina is ano ba yung sagot kanina? So 16 over 52. So, the lowest term pa. Ito 'yon kasi meron silang common portion. So in a hospital unit, there are 8 nurses and 5 physicians. 7 nurses and 3 physicians are females. In a staff person is selected, if a staff person is selected, find the probability that the subject is a nurse or a male. Ayan. So the next slide has the data. Okay? So empirical probability ito class. So kasi may data tayo. So ang female na nurse ay 7, male ay 1 nurse, edi 8 nurses yon. Physicians, for female and male, 3 and 2 respectively, so 5. Okay, so meaning to say, there are 13 total staff, di ba? 10 are female and 3 are males. Okay? So, solution. So, probability of getting a nurse or male. Ayan. So 8 over 13 plus 3 over 13 minus 1 over 13 kasi meron silang uh, intersection. So equals 10 over 13. So on New Year's Eve, the probability that a person driving while intoxicated is 0.32. The probability of a person having a driving accident is 0.09. And the probability of a person having a driving accident while intoxicated is 0.06. What is the probability of a person driving while intoxicated or having a driving accident? So ang gagawin lang dyan, ayun, ipag-add mo lamang. Given na naman eh. Eh dahil may intersection, ipagmaminus mo. So 0.32 plus 0.09 minus 0.06, so equals 0.35. So 0.35 is the probability of intoxicated or accident. Okay? Kaya class, drive safely. Kung naka-motor, naka-four wheels kayo, do not uh, drink and drive. Do not also text or use your phone while driving para safe kayo. So the multiplication rules and conditional probability. So two events A and B are independent if the fact that A occurs does not affect the probability of B occurring. So example, rolling a die and getting a 6. Kapag, di ba kanina or addition? Kapag multiplication and, tingnan nyo to. Rolling a die and getting a 6. And then rolling another die and getting a 3 are independent events. So yon, when two events A and B are independent, the probability of both occurring is probability of A and B is equal to P of A times P of B. So a card is drawn from a deck and replaced. Then a second card is drawn. Find the probability of getting a queen and then an ace. Okay? So pag-end multiplication yan ha. Ano yung getting a queen? 4 over 52. Ano yung getting an ace? 4 over 52. Pag pinag-times nyo yun, 4 over 52 times 4 over 52, that's 16 over 2,704. Pag nilowest term, 1 over 169. So, ayun. A Harris poll found that 46% of Americans say they suffer great stress at least once a week. If three people are selected at random, find the probability that all three will say that they suffer stress at least once a week. Ayan. So, yung 46% class is 0.46. So, itatimes mo lang siya sa sarili. Tatlo. 0.46 times 0.46 times 0.46 or 0.46 raised to 3. That's approximately equal to 0.097. The probability that a specific medical test will show positive is 0.32. If 4 people are tested, find the probability that all 4 will show positive. Ayan. So, 0.32 raised to 4 is equal to 0.010. Ayan. So, ito, very relevant ito sa situation natin now. Kaya, class, please stay safe lang kayo. When the outcome or occurrence of the first event affects the outcome or occurrence of the second event in such a way that the probabilities change, the events are said to be independent, to be dependent. Example, having high grades and getting a scholarship are dependent events. The conditional probability of an event B in relationship to an event A is the probability that event B occurs after event A has already occurred. Diba? Parang kanina, in real life ganito. If you have high grades, there's a proper it could affect, 'di ba, your application of getting a scholarship. Okay? Ayun. So the notation probability is given by ayan, for B, P of probability of B given A. So kung babasahin niyo to class, the probability of B given A. So this does not mean B divided by A. Ayan. So when two events A and B are dependent, the probability of both occurring is the probability of A and B is equal to probability of A times the probability of B given A. So in a shipment of 25 microwave ovens, two are defective. If two ovens are randomly selected and tested, find the probability that both are defective if the first one is not replaced after it has been tested. So, ito yung solution. Diba? So, ayun, yung probability nung is 2 over 25. times. And next one na. So, since nakapag-test na kayo sa una, ibig sabihin 24 na lang yung natitira. Kaya, 1/24. Okay, gets nyo? Yun yun. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng kapag merong kapag may yung naaapektuhan niya yung pag-dependent. Okay. So, yun, 2/25 times 1/24, that's 2/600. Pag nilowest term, 1/300. The WW Insurance Company found that 53% of the residents of a city had homeowners insurance with its company. Of these clients, 27% also had automobile insurance with the company. If a resident is selected at random, find the probability that the resident has both homeowners and automobile insurance. So, tandaan nyo, 53% saka 27%. Okay? So, yon ipag-multiply lang natin, di ba? Kasi given na naman siya class dito. Kaya wala na kayong babaguhin. So 0.53 times 0.27, that's approximately equal to 0.1431. Box 1 contains 2 red balls and 1 blue ball. Box 2 contains 3 blue balls and 1 red ball. A coin is tossed. If it falls heads up, box 1 is selected and a ball is thrown. If it falls tails up, box 2 is selected and a ball is thrown. So find the probability of selecting a red ball. Ayun. So since ang may head or tail pa, di ba? Pwede tayong gumamit ng tree diagram. So as you can see, yung probability of getting yung unang event, head or tail ay 1/2, di ba? Kaya 1/2 itong dalawa. Tapos dito, getting red ay 2/3. Tapos getting blue ay 1/3. Sa other box naman, ang pag getting red, 1/4. Doon sa box 2, getting blue is 3/4. Kaya ganito. Yung unang situation is 1/2 times 2/3, then 1/2 plus times 1/3, 1/2 times 1/4, 1/2 times 3/4. So, yon since getting red tayo, tingnan nyo. So, getting red, ano yun? 1/2 times 2/3, saka 1/2 times 1/4. So, what we're going to do is 1/2 times 2/3 plus. Okay, pagpa-plus natin. 1/2 times 1/4. Pagsasamahin yung dalawa. Okay. Kasi ito lang yung pinag-multiply. Since pareho silang red, kaya pinag-add. So, yun, 2/6 plus 1/8 equals 8/24. Pag nilowest term natin yan, hindi, pag-add pala muna natin. Yung isa, 3/24. Pag pinag-sama natin, yun, 11/24. So the probability that the second event B occurs given that the first event A has occurred can be found by dividing the probability that both events occurred by the probability that the first event has occurred. The formula is the probability of B given A is equal to the probability of A and B over the probability of A. So for example, the probability that Sam parks in a no parking zone and gets a parking ticket is 0.06, and the probability that Sam cannot find the legal parking space and has to park in the no parking zone is 0.2. On Tuesday, Sam arrives at school and has to park in a no parking zone. Find the probability that he will get a ticket. So what you're going to do, so let n be equal to parking in a no parking zone and t getting a ticket. So the probability of t given n is equal to the probability of n and t divided by the probability of n. So 0.06/0.2 is equal to 0.30 or 0.3. A recent survey has asked 100 people if they thought women in the armed forces should be permitted to participate in combat. The results are shown in the table na next slide. So ito. So ito yung mga nag-yes. Sabi nung male, 32 na male, dapat daw sumali ang female sa combat. 18 na nag-no. Sa female naman, 8 lang pumayag. 42, obviously madami no. So 50 plus 50 is 100. Ayan. So ang nag-yes lahat ay 40, over 100, ang nag-no ay 60 over 100. Tapos yung mga tanong, find the probability that a respondent answered yes given that the respondent was a female. So let M, the respondent was a male. Let F, respondent was a female. Let Y, respondent answered yes. Let N, respondent answered no. So ayan, kung ang tanong ay yes tapos female, edi 8 over 100 kasi 8 yung nag-yes na female. Tapos divided by 50 over 100 kasi yun yung probability ng female, tingnan nyo. Ayan. So ang female ay 50. So, yan. 8 over 100 over 50 over 100. So, makakancel lang yung 100, magiging 8 over 50. Ang lowest term ng 8 over 50 is 4 over 25. So, find the probability that the respondent was a male given that the respondent answered no. So, pag male, di ba, male ay, ayun, nag-no siya ay, so, tingnan natin. Probability of N and M, so 18 over 100. Tapos, ang N is 60 over 100. So, cancel lang 100, magiging 18 over 60, okay? Pag dinivide natin sa 6 pareho, magiging 3 over 10. Kaya yun ang lowest term niya. Always remember, do mathematics to learn mathematics. Practice, improve, and stay curious. Keep safe, stay healthy, and God bless everyone. See you next time in our next lesson.